Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to, depending on wherever you may live or however you choose to read your clock, this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below, merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload. Shall we? So in today's first upload, I discussed the 5-state epicenter or hotspot on the East Coast. And I did share some information on a FBI agent / photographer for the FBI who was in Nantahala and had a very strange death. It was brought to my attention initially by a subscriber. His name was Terry and his brother Jody. Now, Terry has since passed and is missed. Super nice guy. Jody still with the channel, and he had a lot of information that was passed down from Terry to him and information that he had gathered on his own. And I talked to him for a while, asking some questions about Nantahala, some of the encounters that have happened in that area, and some of the other kind of odd. We started talking about the missing persons, the bodies recovered and discovered, all in the hot spot that I call North Carolina, West Virginia, Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky. And I really think that 5-state radius is a very, very hot spot. I don't know why they are drawn there. Theories are theories, but for some reason they're drawn there. That's about the most I know. Theories are just theory. They're not etched in stone. And at this point in this upload, they are not important. Well, they are, but the theory of why they are drawn there is not important right now. There was a very strange and violent attack and death out there. One that involved one of the government's own. And they, of course, the media and the government are covering it up and making it look like it's something that it's not. But Jody shared with me some inside info, friends of his or people he know work for the area's rescue units, I guess, or whatever. Anyway, the person was found tore up. Exact words. The lady was found tore up. And so he said, look into it. I said, okay. So I did. I bid him farewell, and I started looking into this government media cover-up on their own personnel. And it is unbelievably bizarre and sickening that the government doesn't even care about their own. So if they don't care about their own, who do they care about? No one. Let's check this out. October 15th, 2019. FBI employee's death in Nantahala National Forest is considered suspicious. Investigation launched into her death. The death of a female FBI employee whose body was found October 7th in a remote area of North Carolina's Nantahala National Forest is considered suspicious, according to District Attorney. The deceased woman, identified as Kathleen Polis Miller, was found after a 911 caller reported a woman had fallen into the water and could not be removed. The Citizens Time reports that the emergency call to report the incident was garbled and hard to hear. And the man making the call said there had been no cell service where the incident happened. Near Big Santitla Road, first responders found the woman unresponsive in a creek. The Forest Service told the Citizens Times the State Bureau of Investigation and National Forest Service quickly became involved in the investigation into the woman's death. The district attorney has confirmed that the incident is being investigated from a criminal standpoint and that they are looking into possible suspicious circumstances surrounding her death. Now, this is all hearsay that Jody got from other parties. Apparently, this woman had been seen by another witness who was in Nantahala. They had spotted a Dogman. They did not notice this woman in her car. And as they were trying to figure out what they were looking at is when they noticed a woman in a car with a camera taking pictures. This will all add up rather quickly when we get into the whole crazy cover-up. I just wanted to share with you really quick. We'll get back into this. Is all, I'm not going off subject. This is all involving this case. This is the email from Jody's brother. What is going on here? There's a community called Nantahala, and in that area is a man-made lake that feeds the local powerhouse. Well, the land around the lake has been sold, and they've been building a road that runs around the lake, and they are building a multi-million-dollar home in one section. The man and maybe some women who are building the house are about to quit. They are even carrying sidearms and have rifles and shotguns at hand all of the time. They tell people that they have seen 15 dogmen, and they said every one of them are huge. Some stand at least 8 to 10 feet tall, with one standing nearly 15 feet tall. I would say that's the alpha. They say he has a mane like a lion. Color being like a dark blonde. They said when they run, they have a jump in their step like a kangaroo. Their hands look like bear claws, and the rest of their body is brown in color. They said something about their feet and something else, but I had forgotten what it was. I'll find out and let you know. The strange thing is they have not attacked anyone. You and I both know when things like this are seen, there is talk, and from one tale brings a bigger one. However, the source I spoke with is firm, and he said some of the folks working there have been checking into Dogman. They may have even heard of your show. What he said was they think these are soldier Dogman, And from the way they look and act, it's like they have DNA of several different creatures. I hope to learn more on this. I'll let you know what we find out. So, like I said, I had been holding on to that email for 3 years, which would bring that email's date to 2019. Small communities, people notice things. Small communities, people notice outsiders. Correct? Yes, they do. Now, you may be asking, well, what about the woman that you were just talking about? Well, I just wanted to share that bit of information with you because why was there an FBI forensic photographer in Nantahala when there are massive dogmen reported in that area? And then they cover up a death? This is where the cover-up begins, my friends, right here. 1 year later, still no answers, October 8th, 2020. 1 year later, still no answers, October 8th, 2020. FBI now conducting investigation on forensic photographer's drowning. Kathleen Polis Miller was just 60 when she drowned in less than 2 feet of water in Graham County on October 7th, 2019. Kathleen Polis Miller was 60. Her body was found in less than 2 feet of water. Big Santitla. Even though a year had passed, there is still few answers available on the drowning death of Federal Bureau of Investigation forensic photographer in Graham County. Authorities deemed the death of 60-year-old Kathleen Polis Miller suspicious 1 week after she was discovered face down in Big Santitla Creek on October 7th, 2019 by her husband, Greg Miller. He was the last person to see Kathleen alive. The FBI, under pressure by Kathleen's co-workers, finally assigned an agent to help investigate the circumstances surrounding Kathleen's demise in November of 2019. Through multiple interviews with various agencies, Greg Miller has continually made conflicting statements about what transpired. However, that's where the latest information ends for Graham County Sheriff Jerry Crisp, a captain on the force at the time of Kathleen's death. Crisp headed up the local portion of the investigation. Initially, the FBI, just jumped in with both feet, Crisp said. They wanted copies of everything I'd had, which I gave them. They started doing interviews, and I asked for copies of the interviews they did with him in Alabama. I was told they would get them right to me, but to this day I have not seen them. Crisp also has not received a final autopsy. He still believes enough information has been gathered to press charges. If I can take everything I've got, plus everything they've got, put it all together, go meet with my district attorney, I think I've got enough for charges, Crisp had. Greg Miller told authorities he returned from a 5-minute trip to the restroom near the campsite to find his wife in the creek, which measured less than 22 inches in depth at the site of the drowning, according to preliminary autopsy. He then ran to flag down a motorist who called for an emergency personnel at 5:17 p.m. She was later pronounced dead at the scene. Initially, the Graham County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina, the State Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Forest Service, and District Attorney's Office collaborated on the investigation. The Millers lived in Huntsville, Alabama. After Kathleen's death, neighbors of the couple later received what proved to be fictitious notices from the Huntsville Police Department asking for tips on Kathleen's death. 2 years go by. November 10th, 2021. Madison County, Alabama. More questions than answers remain 2 years after an FBI photographer from Madison County died while on vacation with her husband in North Carolina. The investigation into Kathleen Miller's death continues, with few details being released from law enforcement, but her family is continuing to push for justice. Kathleen Miller and her husband Greg took a trip together to the Nantahala National Forest in North Carolina, but only Greg walked out alive. Kathleen drowned in 2 foot of water. It's a story her sister, Vaughn Grace, struggles to understand. It doesn't make sense that with all the experience Kathy had with water and water safety, she fell face first into 2 feet of water and not be able to get herself up, Vaughn Grace said. He has changed the story that he has told repeatedly. She added about Kathleen's husband. Kathleen's family aren't the only ones who have noticed that. Her autopsy results were also released in 2021. James Hyde, Graham County Medical Examiner, noted in the document, with inconsistencies in the accounts surrounding the deceased's death and autopsy findings, and the depth of water in which the deceased drowned in the manner of death is best classified as a homicide. Another report observed what were called abnormal bruising on her neck, scrapes on her face. A recent court filing points to Kathleen's death certificate, which also lists her manner of death as a homicide. What happened in that shallow creek spawned a multi-agency investigation with Graham County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and other authorities. But still, 2 years later, no suspects have been named and no charges filed. Instead, a spokesperson for the FBI in North Carolina says the investigation is ongoing and they won't provide any details to the News 19. Once the investigation is completed, the FBI says the findings will be turned over to the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of North Carolina. It's difficult for the entire family, but I would rather have them than to go in not fully prepared. It's not like the time is going to bring Kathy back, Grace said. But Kathleen Miller's family isn't waiting for justice. A wrongful death lawsuit has been filed in Madison County, Alabama, alleging Greg Miller intentionally and feloniously killed her. They are suing to limit Greg's financial gain from bank accounts, life insurance policies, and their home. Mark McDaniel, a prominent Huntsville attorney who is not involved in the Miller case, says Alabama's Slayer statute is designed to prevent a person who killed someone from benefiting financially, but Greg Miller hasn't been charged with a crime. McDaniel says depending on the evidence, he could still be found guilty in a civil lawsuit. You can be found not guilty. You could even be not charged in a criminal case and be sued for wrongful death in a civil action because the burden of proof is less, McDaniel said. Meanwhile, Kathleen's family says they have no idea where Greg Miller is. The home of Kathleen, owned in Owens Crossroads, sits empty, neighbors tell News 19, and they don't recall seeing Greg Miller in more than 1 year. He has abandoned my sister's home, Grace said. Documents show Greg has survivorship rights to the home in the wake of Kathleen's death, but her family says Greg is not paying the bills. A red tag on the home's meter shows utilities have been turned off due to non-payment. Kathleen's sister is dealing with the HOA, and that's not all. I went ahead and paid the mortgage to keep the house from going into foreclosure, Grace said. It's been 2 years since Kathleen died. The investigation of her death is in limbo. Her family is still counting on law enforcement, but one way or another, Kathleen's family is determined to see the price paid for her death. Again, Kathleen Miller was an FBI photographer in Huntsville. The FBI here has referred our questions about her death to the FBI's office in Charlotte. That office told News 19 they don't know how much longer the investigation will take, or when it might be handed over to the United States Attorney's Office. Let's talk cover-up. This is what I think happened. And I've kind of ran it over a couple people. I bounced it off some people. That's what I do. This is just a theory. I'm not saying anything's etched in stone. I did bounce it off 3 people. 3 people who had no idea about this incident. I shared what I just shared with you guys. Then I shared my theory. Here goes. Here's where the cover-up starts, kind of, according to newspapers. Now, we're just going to step aside from the initial attack and go back, or death, excuse me. 2020. Graham County Sheriff's Captain Jerry Crisp asked for copies of interviews and final autopsy. FBI is silent. Sounds like they're hiding something. Okay. 1 year, still no arrest. That's a bit strange, I'd say. Then, fake notices from Huntsville Police Department asking for help are passed around the neighborhood. That is very strange. And I think, my friends, the FBI, well, yeah, I'm just going to go into it. The FBI, I think, knows what happened. I think this woman was sent there along with her husband and make it look like a vacation, but do some, let's look. There's got a multi-million-dollar home being built in the vicinity of where she was found dead. Okay? You've got a multi-million-dollar home. You've got a dead FBI photographer. You've got persons stating that they've seen dogmen in that area. Large ones. People are saying they've seen her taking photos of them. So, my thinking is the government or the FBI wanted to see what was going on. This rich person contacted whoever they knew, and she was sent to investigate, take pictures and whatnot. Things got a little hairy. I'm thinking Greg Miller may have been a little bit of a runner. Not a man's man. Kind of the guy that would just push his wife in front of a pack of dogmen to escape himself. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I wasn't there. I think that's what happened, because the final autopsy, this is 2021 now, the final autopsy is all over the place. So is the husband. Okay? The autopsy, the final autopsy, and other reports, health reports or whatnot, are conflicting. There's changes being made, and just the same as her husband. Stories are changing. He doesn't know what to say. I'm thinking he's being coached by the FBI. Okay. Autopsy reports are being manufactured. Different ones to confuse people. Just like the fake notices from the Huntsville Police Department. And once again, still no arrest. All right. We're talking about an FBI photographer found dead, supposedly found dead, drowned in a very small, shallow creek. And you're telling me that the FBI hasn't arrested someone yet? I don't believe that possible. So here's where it gets kind of strange. The husband is, we're not hearing what he's saying to the FBI. We're hearing what he's saying to the local PD and this and that. And it's all over the place. Just like I said, like the autopsies, right? He's got survivorship of their property. He is her husband. He's not been charged with a crime. He still has access to bank accounts. Everything that was theirs is his now. But where is he? No one knows. That's the kicker. I really think this is how I believe this story went down. I may be wrong, but prove that I'm wrong and I will admit it. Until then, my theory is what I'm going to share with you. It may be wrong, it may be right, but we don't know. So here's my theory. Multi-million-dollar home getting built in Nantahala. Owner of the home is getting feedback or whatnot from the contractors who are now carrying weapons to work because there are some big-ass dogmen being spotted in the vicinity. The owner is obviously rich, multi-million-dollar home. I'm sure he has some political affiliations. So he calls up Tad. Tad, I'm building my new house in Nantahala, and these huge dogmen are scaring the help. Can you put me in touch with the FBI, Tad? Sure thing, Cliffy. Get in touch with the FBI and I'll have them come out and check things out for you. So, Tad calls his buddy in the FBI. FBI says, all right, let's get some photos out there so we can figure out who we're going to send to take care of these dogmen. Kathleen goes out. Kathleen's told, make it look like you're camping. Make it look unofficial. We don't need this getting out. Okay, boss, yada yada. They roll out, go camping. They are seen, or she is seen, in the vicinity taking photos of a dogman by an eyewitness. Next thing you know, she's dead. Now, we all know dogmen are very intelligent. Could be that a dogman was watching her as she was watching them. Stalks her, stalks Greg in her. Greg leaves to go to the bathroom, and as persons involved in the rescue say, she was torn up. And well, she's taking photos of these dogmen. Obviously, we know dogmen and Sasquatch and werewolves know what firearms are. They know what cameras are because they avoid them like the plague. If she's able to catch photos or catch a glimpse of a dogman and get a pictures, do you honestly think that dogmen aren't watching her? She's either camping somewhere close by to where they are or whatnot. I think what happened, there's two ways of how this could have went down. Greg went to the bathroom and came back and found that his wife was torn up. Lost his marbles and ran through the woods trying to get cell service. Or Greg and Kathleen were back at their camp, figuring things out. Dogman shows up, attacks Kathleen. Greg takes off running. Pretty much the same scenario, just Greg witnessed. Or Greg didn't. Sheriff is confused. District attorney's confused. So you've got Graham County Sheriff, Graham County District Attorney. Everyone's going, we got to hang this on Greg. He's the only person there. FBI gets involved. Everything just goes funky. Stories change. Stories disappear. Autopsies don't make sense. Then Greg is just gone. Man that has survivorship of their home. He was her husband, mutually responsible for bills, debt, or whatever else they owned, or whatever money was in their bank account. Yet, the home still stands, the bank account still stands, and Greg is gone. My guess is the FBI said, well, Greg, you got two choices, my friend. You can either go along with what we say, and you can possibly be put in witness protection and start a whole new life somewhere else. Just help us cover this up. Help us hide the truth. Greg does. Or Greg has a conscience. And Greg says, no way, dude. My wife was attacked by these creatures that you sent us looking for, or you sent my wife looking for, take pictures of. I'm letting the news know. Well, Greg, how do you like this beautiful cell that you will call home for the rest of your life? Or even more terrifying, Greg, let's take a walk real quick out in the desert or out in a swamp, and Greg doesn't come back. Boy, oh boy. I mean, that doesn't sound too far-fetched to me. There's just a lot of inconsistencies. And I think that, well, it's just a theory, right? I mean, who knows? Greg might pop up a couple years from now, and everything might get solved, or what? Or we'll never know. My guess is we'll never know. My guess is that this year, around October, they'll make another news brief 3 years later. I don't know. But that is the theory of what happened to the FBI photographer in Nantahala. Just a theory, my friends. But, like I said, too many inconsistencies for anything to add up. I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide. How do you feel about it? Well, there you have it, folks. Tonight's middle of the night or early morning bonus upload, which I hope you all enjoyed as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps the channel growing and going, and what gives folks like us a place and a chance to share our experiences judgment-free, just simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. And until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for that truth, and God bless.